Let's take a quick tour of the LG Optimus 2X software and then talk about some tips and tricks and some of the cooler things found on this phone that aren't on other Android phones. Right off the bat, you'll notice you can move very quickly between the screens, and this is thanks to the dual-core processor on the Optimus 2X. And there have been some questions with, does Android 2.2 support dual cores, to the applications and whatnot, and we reached out to NVIDIA directly, who told us yes, Froyo itself and various apps, especially games, are multi-threaded and take advantage of the dual cores. So no worrying about whether the dual cores are actually being used. They are, and you can tell on the Optimus 2X that there is some seriously good processor in place because it is just nice and zippy. There are 7 home screens, and you can see which one you're at the top here with that red dot, and you can do a kind of HTC Sense like pinch, and it will show you an overview of all 7 screens, so you can jump to whichever one you may want to. If you press Menu, Home Settings, you can also change and select only 3 home screens or 5 home screens if 7 is just too overwhelming for you. The status bar on the Optimus 2X has these nice quick setting features, so you can change between vibrate and sound, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and auto rotate, and you can just toggle them on and off, which is really nice. It also has quick settings for audio, so you can play music and go in between your songs directly from your home screen at any time. At the bottom here, we've got these permanent app icons, which are phone, contacts, messaging, and applications. If I jump into applications, you can see it shows the system applications first, and then scroll to the bottom and it will show your downloads from Android Market. Now I can customize this and choose a different style. There's horizontal, so I can swipe left and right to go through my apps, or you can look at them in list view, which will list them all alphabetically, and over here on the left I could jump through them even quicker. In this vertical mode, you can also set categories, add categories, rename categories. So, for example, you've got system applications and downloads. Maybe I want to change them to games or something else. And then, of course, you can also edit where these applications are going and in what order. So, the vertical way is kind of neat, but I personally actually prefer the list version. So, I'm going to go ahead and set this to list. For the most part, I really like the Optimus 2X UI. It pretty much stays out of your way. It does add some of these little inclusions like the tray and the different applications, but there's small changes and tweaks. There are also the ability to add different widgets that LG has included. There's the calendar widget. Most of them I don't find too useful. There's the FM radio widget, and the social widgets. I wouldn't use most of these myself personally, but you may want to. Either way, the options are there. LG's provided you with them. But if you don't want to use them, the home screen is, for the most part, simple, straightforward Android. Now, if you go into the settings, there are some things about the Optimus 2X LG has customized, which I kind of like. If you go into the display settings, you can see you can actually change the display font, and it's Droid Sans by default, but you can change to a bunch of these different things. And let's change to My Heart and show you that it actually shows in all different areas. The app icons will show differently and stuff. And let me show you on reboot. So here we are now with the My Heart font enabled, and you can see everything from the time up here to the names of the applications, to the notifications in the status bar. Go back and jump into settings. Down here, everything is the same. Also notice on the menu here, we've got the My Heart font. So it is really through a lot of places in the UI in general, and it just gives all users the easy ability to kind of customize their phone, which is pretty cool. So I like to see that setting. Another cool set of options is gesture. So you can see it's for text input field, rearrange items, mute and snooze, turn off. This gesture just means you put your phone face down and it will silence. We've seen that before. But there's also panning, previous, next, music, pause, and mute. So let me give you an example of what some of these are. Actually, some of them I find rather dumb, to tell you the truth. For example, for moving an icon. So I can go here, and instead of like moving it with my finger, I can tilt the phone and it will move like that. So I don't really find that useful. I actually find it to be a pain in the butt, and they've included that with some other features, such as changing between picture. Here, let me show you a picture in the gallery. For example, let's see, let's go to one of these pictures, and it looks like we don't need to zoom on this one. There we go. But say I want to pan, I can hold my finger down, and instead of like actually moving around, oops, I could, if I wanted to, put my finger down and like tilt around to move the picture around. I don't even get it, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of pointless and they added it just for the sake of gestures, but there are some cool gestures. Let me show you one. Alright, so here I am in a text message. I've written Rob Jackson's the coolest person in the world, obviously, and I need a sentence that is long enough to make this worthwhile. So, I don't know how often you do this, but if you press somewhere and you want to get it like in the middle of the word to correct something and you can't quite press the right spot with your finger, there is a gesture so you can tap, and if you tap this side, the cursor will fly that direction. So here I am at worthwhile, and you can see if I tap this, it will send it to between the E and the period. So, and you can see now it's in between the E and the period. Let me do it again. And you can also do this to toss it up a line, so hit on the bottom and hit on the bottom again, it sends you up. And of course you can do this any direction. You can also do this to browse through images by tapping on the directions, and music allows you to do this. So these are some pretty cool gesture features that I find helpful. The text one I really like, actually, because I'm always trying to press somewhere certain and it doesn't go to the right place. So the gestures on LG, very cool. They included these. Let's take a look at some of the applications LG's installed by default. First, they've got App Advisor, which essentially is just LG's own version of Android Market, highlighting certain applications that they think are worthwhile of download. Not hugely important. I can see why they want to include it for sponsorships and other things like that. Browsing protection is really just something that launches F-Secure, which is a program that says will detect malware on your SD card and viruses and things of that nature. I'd recommend against installing it. Probably just, bloatware for the most part. A better thing to do is just be careful of what you're downloading from Android Market. Make sure that other people have had success with it. It's a reputable company and stuff like that. So they do include it on there. I'd say you could stay away from downloading it or from installing it. We've got Document Master here, Facebook for LG. Home Selector, which right now there's just LG Home, but I'm guessing by the time this launches in different markets, you'll be able to switch different themes and whatnot with Home Selector. They've got Latitude in here, Android Market, of course, Memo, MySpace for LG, which will probably be the least used application on the phone. We've got preloaded apps, which interestingly enough don't show anything there. I was kind of curious what that was about. Remote support, I want to try this out actually. Apparently remote call can diagnose and control customers mobile remotely. Actually a little bit scary, having someone go through your phone remotely, but interesting nonetheless. We've got Smart Share for multimedia, TegraZone, which is, remember, this is powered by an NVIDIA Tegra 2 processor. So what NVIDIA's done here is created this application called TegraZone, which really highlights games and apps that you really get to experience, great graphics at high speeds. Games that really use the dual-core processor to the full advantage. And this, you can see the news here actually about different games, and you can check out different games to download. So looks like the screenshots aren't working at the moment, but these do send you over to Android Market to download the different apps. So pretty standard stuff on the app front. Overall, the LG Optimus 2X software is great. Really like the UI and the different inclusions. Of course, it runs really snappy thanks to the quick dual-core processor. And really, LG has just kept it simple and included and added a few different extra things like the status bar addition and the ability for you to sort your apps in different ways. And so I like what they've done by trying to improve the phone and improve the experience through small touches here and there, but allowing you to enjoy the basic concept of Android in a closer to vanilla state than we've seen by some other manufacturers. Two areas of potential concern, one rather minor, is sometimes, at least a couple times, I would select something out of the status notification tray and it would get stuck for a second before it jumped to the app, which really isn't that big a deal. Just a polish thing, or could have been with whatever app I was launching. caused that hesitation. Another thing is, one time when using the phone, it actually did shut off while I was using it. Not sure what prompted the shut off. Not really sure why it happened, but it did randomly kind of turn off. So I've been looking for that to happen again. It hasn't happened again. Hopefully it was kind of a freak accident, or the phone was restarting, trying to update something. I'm not sure. But overall, the LG Optimus 2X user interface, software experience, and everything was great. So definitely plus there. And the multimedia stuff was really great too, and that's what we're going to jump into next.